What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, closet swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are surviving the month of July. And we've got a big day on our hands. We've got the Fed, we got Jerome Powell, we've got some earnings came in last night. But more importantly, we got you guys each and every day just working toward the goals. We got CJ in the house. Good morning to Albert. Good morning to Alex, Andy, Bill, Brian, Cindy, Doug, / AKA Goat Ate It. Good morning to Greg K, GW, Jay Linder. Good morning, Joe, Kevin, Liza's in the house. Good morning, Martina, Nancy. We got Richard Jet. Good morning to Ron, Sean, Sylvan. We got Sebastian. We got Win Wally, all my peeps in YouTube land. Good morning to all you guys. I see Daniel commenting. Good morning as well. Make sure everybody out there in YouTube land hits that little like, the thumbs up, subscribe, do all the things the YouTube people say is fun and to do, and smash buttons. And I mean, don't smash buttons because then it's broken. You got to buy new ones. The whole thing. It seems like more of a hassle than anything. But just lightly tap it. I'm good with that too. Let's see. We got the SPY. So SPY with a little bit of a gap down. Tad little bit of a gap down. By the way, also, if you guys have ticker symbols you want to take a look at, make sure you guys throw those smash those into the chat. I just want to smash things. Hulk smash. YouTube viewer smash. SPY with a little bit of a gap down. I think we're getting weighted down from a little bit of the tech sector, but we'll take a look at that for sure. We are under yesterday's VPOC, also under the developing VPOC as well. Gina's in the house. Good morning, Gina. Aren't you smashing We'll see. We'll see how the day ends. We'll see how the first trade goes. If it's a win, probably not smash. Oh, it's a loss though. So smashing everything. Smashing all the buttons. SPY into the developing VPOC. So again, this could be an area where we might get a bounce-ish, but it is a bear gap and go on the day, still on the inside. It's going to be interesting to see what we do until 2 p.m. today. J Payne make Hulky. Usually does. We'll see how he wants to come out and play today. I don't know. I do expect we'll get into that in a second. But we are under the developing VPOC. We should have again a little bit of strong support somewhere around this 450, 414. I did get some puts at the end of the day yesterday. I'm trying to figure out what to do with those. They do expire this week. If I had a little more time on them, I think I would hold them longer. They're 454s. I might just put market sell and just exit out, see if we get a bounce, and then just re-up if the market wants to move higher on Jerome Powell, and then we'll try it again. I think that might be the play for me. But we'll see what happens. Trying to lock some green in. Google burning them. Yeah. I've only held, I think, for 2023 puts for very short amount of times. Like I've been playing like the opening play. I'm like, and the reason I took out the puts yesterday too, and we'll get into some of the banking stuff, but there was, I think, number one, Russia burned down like some kind of port of entry into Ukraine. Wheat was limiting up. You didn't really hear too much about wheat yesterday, but it was limiting up. Not widely carried on the news whatsoever. I'm like, that's strange. I feel like that would be a bip deal, but okay. And then you got some banking crisis news that came in. Potential news between Pan W and Bank with a C. They didn't even get the spelling correctly. It's BANK, not BANC. So, but like some of the regionals were down, and I'm like, is there some more regional potential issue? And then I was like, we got the backstop. Even if we go up, we still got earnings from Microsoft. We got earnings from Snapchat came in yesterday. Google came in yesterday. And I was like, we can see like a black swan there. And then even in a worst case, Jerome Powell could still come in and kill it if this thing's not a gap down. So I was like, I got some odds in my favor that we might open lower. If we don't, I got a backstop. And then worst case, I just lose everything. So there's always that option too. But if anything, it's probably a small gain on those things. It's probably not too crazy because it is a gap down, but it is not anything like, oh my goodness, we are dropping. So again, we do have a little bit of level of support. I think we kind of hang out in this range. Probably the high end of the range will be 450, 455.84. If that's even going to get there before Jerome Powell, and then 455.24 would be probably the more realistic zone I think we stay in. To the low end of things, I think maybe 453.89. So I think we're going to be tightly range bound for the most part on the overall market until Jerome Powell. And I think that's what's going to come out, move the markets. Again, after hours, we do got also Meta reporting. We've got a couple of the big names reporting as well today. So there's still going to be some volatility after the market, but I think we get a little bit of just tight range until we get the blessing from Jerome Powell for which way we should go, and just kind of see what he does from that point. Early morning, first, very early, probably some volatility on some individual stocks. We'll go through those. I see some of you guys already throwing some of those out there. The Qs, again, a little bit of a gap down into, looks very, very similar to the SPY, into yesterday's developing VPOC. We're still kind of holding that range. And we'll have to see where this thing kind of goes from here. But to the low end, if we start to panic a little bit, and there might be a little reason to panic, we'll get to that in a second, but 375.89 would be the low end. I think the high end up, and all this is until Jerome Powell. It's almost like we get to celebrate 2 days today, the day before Jerome Powell, the day after. So the day before Jerome Powell, I think the high end probably about 379.61. So we do have a little bit of a range we could balance if we get to any of the extremes of those. And then after Jerome Powell, I think we do have a good potential to break one way or the other, and we'll see kind of how that market wants to play. But I don't know. And if I was to take a stab in the dark, I'm just going to say bullish, just because I'm going with the trend, and it's easier to be right going with the trend. So we'll see what the market actually wants to give us. Let's take a look real quick at MSFT. Microsoft. They reported the earnings weren't bad. They were kind of in line. The bigger issue on Microsoft did not come from the actual report. And this is what's going to be very interesting on Microsoft is the conference call. The guidance. Guidance is important. So the guidance was, I think, about 6% or something. It was kind of in line. They're pretty much throwing out. Again, Microsoft has been around forever. I can't imagine anybody here has never heard of Microsoft. They've been a staple. They've been around forever. They've also been kind of looked at as more of a just not so much on the growth end of things, but just more of a stable company you put your money into. It's Microsoft. Until AI came along. So then AI gave them an opportunity for a little bit of a shift, where you have a little bit of a stable company, plus you have a good growth aspect to it that could grow pretty rapidly. And the excitement obviously continues on Microsoft. But CEO comes out and says, we will be growing just very, very slowly. It's going to not be a huge, he pretty much just clapped his own product. So he did mention AI, but just not in the best way possible. I mean, you're sitting there with AI, you can still pump it up a little bit. He chose to not, which is probably better for, transparency, I would guess. But we are gapping down. This is where the comments started to come in that AI it's a good product, but it's not going to, they'll grow it over time. Foot in his mouth. Yeah. I guess the, I guess giving some accurate information is also, respectable in some sense. But this did take a lot of the wind out of the sails for AI, especially for Microsoft. So we'll see what happens on here. But this is on a daily basis, this is a little bit of a, was it a gap and go retest? So it's a gap and go. Again, we are still at a little bit of support. So I would like to see Microsoft get bought up a little bit. It is doing that now. See if we can bounce off of here a little bit, maybe even into 344.70, somewhere into that zone would be an interesting spot to look for a short. We still have all these moving averages that can hold us up, but it is a gap and go. So I would want to look bearish. Whether I play it bearish or not, I don't know. It's still going to be. I think we're still in an environment that playing bearish is just very, very difficult. So we could look to play the fade bullish. Maybe that works. We got probably $4 or $5 to the higher side before the zone that I think I want to short, and then whether I take the short or not, I don't know. Shorting everything is still, I think, a little difficult until we get some serious breakdowns on something. Soon AI will do the conference calls. Yeah, yeah. He's just that's why he slowed down the progress of AI. He still wants his job. Let me see what else came in. We got, I think, Google. The Googs. We'll go with the L. Nope. And we'll also try to spell it correctly too. Go give it a shot. There we go. All right. So Google, on the other hand, massive beat. I looked at the earnings. Everything looked pretty fantastic. There was no area really of concern on Google, and they went the opposite. So now you have a company who's not at 52-week highs, kind of is all-time highs, and they haven't been as crazy on the run up. Plus, you do have the element of AI, so maybe it's Google that gets AI correct. Maybe it's Google. So we do have a little bit of some type. I mean, let's go first of all. We're into a little bit of resistance, but let's go to more of a smaller time frame. After hours, I mean, this thing just ran like a beast. I would imagine somebody wants to take some profit, I would think. So even though this is a very, very strong gap higher, I would like to see some kind of fade, maybe to 127.48. Somebody in this range probably would like to take a profit, I would think. That being said, Google still looks pretty good, still looks very investable, and I think there will be a buying opportunity by the dips. I think would make a lot of sense. Right into this range is 127.76. If that fails, maybe we come down to like 125.41. And I think you will probably run into a bunch of buyers specifically in that range. So we'll see what happens on Google. But I don't want to be the first one to buy it, see if it wants to kind of fade a little bit. And then we'll see if we can get a little bit more of a pullback and try to run it up from there. But again, if I was going to short anything, it would be Microsoft over Google, but both are probably very difficult. Probably very difficult. We got Meta. META. David Cook Speaks is in the house. Good morning. Paralysis to Purpose podcast. I have not listened to that podcast, but I will. That sounds enticing. I like that name. All right. We got Meta. Meta with a little gap and go. They do report earnings tonight, so be careful of that. And keep in mind, everything that we say now it's the day before Jerome Powell. Day after Jerome Powell, these things could start to move, and then you got another little area for Meta. So Snapchat came out. They did their 20% drop. That's typical for Snapchat earnings. So Snapchat has always been by the dip, though, and we'll take a look at Snap next. But more or less, there was a point where Snap reports before Meta, and then Meta would react kind of off of how Snapchat's advertising revenue, which was important. Meta's decoupled a little bit. So Meta's on a different ball game than Snapchat, and probably going more off the positivity from Google. And again, Google ads, Google advertising, everything Google was solid. So that's going to give a little boost to Meta. So I think it is moving off the Google earnings more than anything else. But you do have a little bit of a gap up. Still in this, so the volume comes on that sell candle. So if we were gapping a little bit higher, 305.57, I think that would be an interesting run up. If this one gives me a red candle at open, this will be the play where I look to try to take it long. There again, there's not a lot in the way up until probably 307.01. That's where I would put my targets. But if I could get a little bit of a sell candle, especially if that sell candle is dropping below the daily 10, somewhere below 300, 299.95, and my entry could be above the 10, above that candle. I do have a gap and go working for me. That would be the play for me if I could get it. So Meta is going to go pretty high on the list. And we'll see what happens on this one again. And we also have earnings coming in tonight. So with the little run up after Google, we could get some excitement on Meta too. So that we do have a little advantage there. Amazon, gap down. Technically, it's a retest gap, opening in an interesting location. So we are below this VPOC. So that's going to be a tight resistance. We still have 13 minutes until the market opens. So this could jump around. I'd like to see where this one opens. Decent support down here as well. I don't know. I think Amazon's going to be a little bit weaker today. Question is how weak. 124.88 would be a solid target. If we get there, that's probably the end goal for me. So what I would like to see is a little bit of a rally up higher. We'll look for a spot to short. Amazon could be shortable today, but you do have 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row of selling. I think this one gets bought up at open, and then maybe a little later in the day, maybe Jerome Powell could lend a helping hand on the short. We'll see what happens, but I do think that one could come down a little bit into weakness. Netflix also has a gap and go. Take a look at Netflix. Visa. So this one is a retest gap as well. It's not really opening in a great location to fade this one higher. I would look bearish on this one. Let's see if we could get a little buying into maybe this 237.43 zone. That would be the spot I wouldn't mind shorting. I can see one more spot would be better, 237.91. If we could get that high, that would also be into this moving average. That's at a VPOC. That would burn anybody that's trying to get in pretty quickly on this one to short. It'd probably stop them all out first, and then we could look for a short there. So it is a retest gap. I don't think that gap fully retests. I'd be shocked if it does, but the market shocks me every day. So we'll see what happens there. UNP, and then we'll take a look at Netflix. UNP. Where's this one? There's quite a little gap. We have probably till about 239, maybe 240. 240 is going to be psychological whole number. So let's go with 239.47. That'd probably be the higher end of the range. We are breaking a lot of support on this one. I think this one might fade down. I think if this one could go a little higher, I would love it. And then fade this thing back down to 226. Maybe even 228. That still gives you we got about $6-7 on this thing. This sector has been picking up a lot of steam though. Yeah, I'm not gonna take it long from here because that is a big gap. I want this thing to move a little bit higher, get some more bulls in there, and then let's see if we can short this thing. I'll look to fade it if it is higher. Maybe somewhere around that 239 zone. It's a nice gap though. And if I do short it, that's definitely counter trend. But on the way down, there's not a lot of anything to hold us back. Would I be opposed to going long on this thing? Maybe not. You still got $5 to the higher side, but then I would need some kind of a red candle at open, some kind of pullback first. That's gonna be an interesting one. We did take a look at Amazon. So Amazon, I think, is looking a little bit to the weaker side, looking for opportunities to short where I can. Let me see, what was the other one? Boeing. Boeing, pretty decent earnings. And they got the first green one in a row. It's like you just read the first book in first grade. You got the book club sticker. They used to give like coupon, like stickers, and once you get a full chart, you get a Pizza Hut, you get a free personal pan pizza. And I don't know. I mean, I've had Pizza Hut after. It doesn't taste that great, but back in the day, that was the best pizza ever. I don't know what it was. Boeing. Definitely on the list. Let's see if we get one little pullback. It's a gap and go, clearing a lot. We did make some money earlier on Boeing. I think, was it this week or last week? Something like that. We're going to run into a little issue probably around this 225.27. It's not a huge issue, but there is going to be a little resistance there. If that clears, probably takes us up to this 228.51. That might end the run, but it is up a lot. Let's see if we get a little pullback first. That looks really, really good, though. Does look good. STLA. Stella. I don't know why they didn't cast me in that movie. I can't imagine. Yeah, nice little gap to go. Volume's probably low on this one. I don't know what the spread is. It's not too spready. Doesn't seem too spready. Pretty decent gap and go. Watch out for resistance around 1890. Let me see if there's any squeeze on this thing. STLA. Not much of a squeeze to help us out. But yeah, you got to watch that one little target, 1890 on this one. TSEM. Otherwise, it is definitely a gap and go. Would like to not short it. This one looks pretty fantastic. Tower Semiconductors. Yep, anything semiconductor is good today. I can't imagine this one has a high short float. No. No high short float. Definitely clearing. Nice little pivot. I like this one over Stella. Problem with this is we are running into some of those moving averages that are trending down, but I mean, look at the volume that came in last couple days. Nothing but 1, 2, 3, 4. This is definitely you could have been a contender. I mean, I should be in every movie. I don't understand. I don't get it. I guess the movie industry is struggling enough without me in it, so we'll see. That's probably why. They're probably trying to increase ticket sales, not decrease them. That's going to go extremely high on the list. That looks very nice. Not even any buying toward the end of the day yesterday. This thing was just headed to zero with some volume. The next heavy volume candle is this one. So the top range of this 39.64 could give us a little issue, but I like it. TSEM. Let me just check one more thing. BANC 14 pre-market 1491. I don't know what to wait on this one. And then Pan W. So these things are coming back. No, not Pan W. What was it? I got the other one. But BANC. I'm gonna see if I can get a little rally on that one first. All right. Let's see. Let me just check the SPY real quick. That one's still coming down lower for right now, below some of those VPOCs for the day. All the moving averages are with us. So I might try to hold on to those SPY puts for a little bit longer. BA looks very good. UNP misses earnings, gets a new CEO. I love the good CEO play. The savior's here. MDB. Like, what are you going to do as your new role? I don't know. Probably do the same thing you guys were doing before, I guess. Mongo database. A little bit of a gap and go. Into a little bit of support. I would love to see a bounce on this one before you go short. This one is spready, I believe. Yep. So this one is going to be a little bit more spready. So be careful on the spread for this one. ENPH. We got lightning round. Lightning round. Ding, ding, ding. ENPH. There's a gap and go again into a little support. This one probably fades. This one could come down a little bit lower, I think, at open. Maybe it's 168.37. But we're starting to get into a zone where some support should be. In phase energy. Tesla. So retest gap probably gets bought up at open. I'd be looking for maybe a bounce spot 261.81. So see if we get a quick drop, then maybe gets bought up. I would think, or if you're looking to short, which is probably what I would be looking to do, we are below some key averages, but let's see if we get it to like 265.39. That would be a point of interest for me to short. Let me get Tessie up a little bit higher on the list as well. Do like UNPH or UNP as well. GPS, that one's got a good short float to it, and that one is quite the gap. So there's your short float play. GPS on the list. Let's see if they give me an opportunity to get into that, but that looks good as well. I got a minute and 41. Let me take a look at NEO. Daniel says Tesla yesterday was looking great too long. Now looking great to short. Yeah, if it comes back up a little bit higher, I think. NEO still inside day, but it is a gap and go. Yesterday was technically a retest gap, so there was still some bullish sentiment, just some profit taking. Has the ability to continue to break out. I think you got to watch out. Again, it's probably 13.19. And then if that one breaks, you're pretty much home free up until 16.32. So look at it for a swing trade as well. And we'll kind of run it up from there. Calm. Maybe calm down. That's not calm at all. I don't know what they did. CALM. 15% short float. Still into a little bit of resistance. I kind of like GPS a little bit better. But I can see this one moving too. And you are coming into some high volume area. Probably max on this one about 47.58. We'll have to see. I got 30 seconds, 15 seconds. What about WFC? I can't forget Luis. Nice little gap up into a heavy resistance zone. Target on this one will be about 47.10. And you're kind of chopping around. So yes, definitely want to lean more bullish on Wells Fargo. Man, I'm running out of time. I'm running out. I don't think I made it today. I tried my hardest, but I don't think I made it. There's that opening bell. Everybody out there in YouTube land, if you feel like smashing things, you can smash it. But keep in mind, that's not financial advice. And make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe, and I'll catch all you guys later. You guys are incredible. Later.